Hello, friends, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about some things I've learned as a large family mom about keeping everyone together on summer outings. I think that every season I'll share some different things that I've learned. Coming up is some school supply hauls and all the rest. But for us, it has been a learning curve to keep everything together and everybody together. And I am a hot mess mom. I'm self-prescribed. I am definitely not one that promises to have all the answers, but I can tell you, as somebody that has struggled just to keep myself together all my life, I have learned a thing or two about just keeping a group together and making sure that we have everything needed, and just a couple of tricks that are tiny, but they actually really help in the long run. My first tip has to do with the car. I've struggled all my life to keep the car clean, so I have to have a very simple process and solution to keeping it clean. And so, one of the things I recognize is myself, as well as a lot of my children, we're not going to remember to get things out or just be able to. Getting a lot of little people in, getting people in that are non ambulatory, it's a lot of work. So, once a week, one of us goes out with a laundry basket, because there's a lot of stuff, and a trash bag, and hook it to the little armrest that you see, and just gather as much as we can. So I am doing it this week. Oftentimes, I do have a child that is their weekly chore. So I am clearing it out. Another tip I have to cleaning it out is doing it in between errands. Often I have something in the morning and I have something in the afternoon. This day we were dropping off some children to their swimming lessons, and then after that, the twins needed to do horse therapy. So I had about an hour where I could clear through the car, and I was going to take it. I was going to take advantage of the fact that the kids were already strapped in and I could go through things quickly. Our car is a little bit quirky in the fact that the inside lights do not work. So it's safe, it's road stable, it is able to go in the dark with the outside lights. However, the inside lights don't work. So I try to get all of the things in, and then I can kind of sort them and put them away inside. So Hannah is with me as I do this voiceover. You may hear her growling in the background. It's one of her favorite sounds to make. Anyway, so we clear out everything we can, and then inside I can kind of sort through it. Another thing that I try to do is keep some things in the car. We had an incident where we almost had a child drowned because we had forgotten flotation devices, thought we could do it without them, and it was not a good choice. So now at the beginning of the summer, I put all of the flotation devices in the car, and we don't take them out until September, October, when the pool and water season is finished. Another couple of things that I keep in my car are camp chairs. Again, I have learned the hard way most of these lessons, in that I've gone to a place where there isn't seating. When I have a nursing baby and a lot of little kids, it is difficult to sit on the floor. So it's nice to have a chair. So now I try to keep folding chairs or camp chairs in the back as well. I also keep diapers and wipes as much as I can. Again, I'm still a hot mess mom. I still sometimes forget these things, and I just roll with it. I have learned also just to make it work. If I don't have what I need, I make it work. Make a note for the next time and try to be prepared from that point forward. But again, we have life. We live life. We aren't perfect, and we're just doing the best that we can. So I'm cleaning out the car. Uh, do any of you have any tips about how you keep your cars cleaned? I am definitely not a clean car person. So if you have any tips, please leave them in the comments below. As you can see, I had a nasty thing I found in that back bench because that is the especially difficult bench to get to. So there's really not a lot of space in between. I do tell the little ones that if they help me get the things underneath of the seats and in those little cracks, that we'll go to the hairy monster attack, the car wash, where I try and do the vacuuming. A commercial grade vacuum just works the best for our family because there's just a lot of crumbs when there's a lot of people. So I do that. And it's also like an outing for about $10, which is unheard of with the amount of kids that we have. So it works out all across the board. And they're very excited as I'm telling them, hey, we're going to go to the hairy monster attack if we can get this cleaned out. Second tip is to dress for success. Now, that sounds a little silly. It sounds almost like they say, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. But as a large family mom, as somebody that's watching, or even if you're not a large family mom, if you have a lot of little children, public bathrooms or public changing rooms can be extremely difficult. So there are people coming in, there are people coming out. Your child is trying to lick the toilet. You don't want that to happen. So I try to keep those times as minimum as possible. Things are dirty. Kids like to lick stuff. I don't know. So I try and have our bathing suits on, myself and my children. The one thing I don't put on before we go out the door are swim diapers. I learned the hard way on those as well. They let all liquid through. So that's the reason they don't puff up in the pool, but it also lets pee through. So you don't want to have urine leaking as you're driving. So I don't typically put those on, but that's an easy, quick. I take all the kids that are in diapers into a family changing room and quickly throw on the swim diapers that I have packed. But if you get your bathing suit on beforehand, and I am usually in that bathing suit the whole time. I've changed that a little bit this time just because my older kids want to go and work out. So I have had to change out of my bathing suit and into something to work out with them. But I usually am in a bathing suit from the start to finish, and I've learned to just be okay with that. So here I didn't follow my advice and I was not dressed for success. I was not in my bathing suit and it was kind of disastrous. However, I had packed a big bag full of lunch boxes. I found some awesome lunch boxes at Aldi's that were very sturdy. I had been using lunch boxes from the dollar store, just the Tupperware boxes. and they did not work as well. So typically I have the kids pack their own lunches, but this day I had packed them all together to kind of save time. And it depends on who I have with me. I had two of my older boys with me this time. I also pack this beach bag that has little bags in it as well, so that if I have a child carry their towel and each child carries their towels, then I can use those little bags and pack them onto the wheelchair. The wheelchair cannot handle anything too long or that hangs too low because it will kind of rub against that wheel and make it hard to push. The other advice that I have is get those kids strapped in as soon as possible. I talk to them, I try and keep them calm, but it helps in getting out the door to have them in first. And here is the two daughters we have in our matching outfits from the day. And here we are getting out at the place we were going. Here it is the Y, and I suggest always having an older child helping a younger child. I know most large family moms know this, but it is super helpful. And I usually talk to them about who their partner will be on the ride over. This can vary from day to day, depending on who is getting along with who. Obviously, our kids don't get along all the time, and that's okay. It's always best to pair them up with someone they will get along with and they will hold hands with while they are there. So I am kind of still directing kids. We were talking today about some different places we had passed and the things that I had learned about them growing up. And as a teenager, it's been kind of fun to talk to Zach and Jacob, especially about things that I did as a teen growing up. So we were having conversations and also making sure shoes are on. Typically, what I do with the younger children now, Asher has fallen into this because he does not like having his shoes on, but my younger kids typically take off their shoes in the car, which makes for a really difficult time, especially with how tight those two benches are next to each other. Really, the three benches are, to try to dig down in there and find the shoes that they have taken off. So what I have taken to do is put them in the diaper bag or any bag that has just a little bit of extra space, and I put the shoes on when we're there. That little black rubber area that you see Micah's feet on is really good for them to sit and get their shoes on, although sometimes then they're in the way of siblings that are trying to get out. So I will put them in the front seat, and you'll probably see in just a couple of minutes one of the kids doing this for Timmy, because he is one of our worst offenders when it comes to taking off his shoes in the car. So they each have their job. They know what their job is, and then they get to it. Sometimes they do it with complaining, sometimes not. We aim to do it with kindness and respect, but everybody is also human. So we're trying to keep that in account, take that in account too. Now, today is a day that I know that I will be able to carry this basket, but sometimes I use those small flowered bags. I found them at the Target dollar spot to put in diapers, swim diapers, and anything else that a child isn't able to carry. And then I have the kids carry their own towels or their own things that they need. One of the things we're learning also with the wheelchair this year is that it's a good idea to have a terry cloth robe. And what I do is we have a little turtle robe that is the cutest from Costco. And I got two turtle robes for the twins and a little baby shark robe for Timmy. It may or may not have been showing in that bag, but I lay it out on the wheelchair. I have not gotten this on video because Asher hates getting out of the water, so I don't want to show him crying on video. But I lay it on the wheelchair and I take the arms out. And then when I get Asher out, I take off his floats and I put him in his seat. The first thing I clip is the waist belt. And then I put his arms in his his robe, and I put his hat on, and I tie up his robe. And this keeps it from dripping and keeps him from dripping all over the wheelchair. And then when I'm finished and he's dressed into something different, I dry it off with the robe because it's terry cloth, same material as most towels, and get him on it. So I'm showing my favorite diaper backpack. I love this one because it has that zipper in the back. I typically put wipes and diapers there, so then I don't have to pull it off of the wheelchair and dig around in it. So I've got that attached, and Noah was telling me today it is very cute. Every time he reaches for Hannah, she puts her hands up like that, like she knows what he's going to do. And there Zach is. Zach is Asher's buddy. His little swim trunks had kind of fallen down. He's a little skinny mini, and so sometimes he has trouble keeping him up. And he also had a sandwich, so we do try our best with the car, but it isn't always perfectly clean. So then we strap him in and we get ready to go about the rest of our day. He has a chest strap and a waist strap, so I try to make sure that before we make any kind of longer journey, we get those strapped in, because otherwise it is a problem. Another thing you may have noticed are lanyards for our older boys. As they get older and they need to keep more of the things that get them in and out of places, such as cards and keys and passes, lanyard is a way so that they won't lose what they need to have with them, because they're going to become more independent, and I want them to have tools to keep all of the things that they need together. Lanyards also work for me. I use a lanyard often if I'm going to the doctor's office, if I know that there's a place like the Y where I have a card to get into. I like the lanyard because I don't have to dig in my purse for it. And digging in your purse for anything with a lot of little kids running around is not fun. So here they all are holding hands. This is the way we stay together in the parking lot. Everybody has their buddy. I encourage them to keep a hold of their hands until they are at least on a sidewalk, possibly further, depending on where we are and how many people are there. Here we are eating our lunch. I have my bathing suit, which is nursing friendly, which I also heavily recommend. And we have a wheelchair accessible table, which is fantastic. Friends, I hope that you are having a wonderful summer. I hope that you're having a lot of fun with your kids before the school year starts and just enjoying the little things. Have a lovely day.